Coming up in this WrestleTalk news, a WWE star comes out as bisexual, an update on a missing wrestler, the NXT review, and more. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Support WrestleTalk!
Just in case you're confused why every Twitter profile now comes in a rainbow variant, it's Pride Month. A whole month to celebrate the LGBTQ+ community. And now the faction has just debuted its latest member, NXT star Toni Storm. Appearing on an official NXT account's Instagram story, Storm revealed,
I guess now's a good time to say, well, both. I'm an ally and I can't exactly say that I'm straight either. I'm bi, and it feels good to say, and it's something I've been really comfortable with for a long time. I just never really expressed it. I don't know. I just never really found the right time, and it's Pride Month, and I'm on your Instagram, so now's a good time, I guess.
Storm is currently in a relationship with New Japan star Juice Robinson, which you can tell because she's wearing his awesome hat. It's amazing to see how many LGBTQ+ members of the roster WWE now has since Darren Young first came out back in 2014. Sonya Deville, Kayla Braxton, Shayna Baszler, Jake Atlas, and more. And it's important to note they're following the path laid by the original bi guy Triple H back in 1998. You can buy our Pride WrestleTalk t-shirt over at WrestleShop.com using the link in the video description below, where all the profits go to the charity Stonewall. On Monday, former Impact, Ring of Honor, and New Japan star Michael Elgin, whose real name is Aaron Frobel, was said to have gone missing. His friend Maria James had posted on Facebook that she and his sponsor were worried about him immensely, and we just want to bring him home safely. His sponsor Eric then explained on a post that he'd been helping Elgin through a lot of things lately, and that Elgin had left a concerning message on Facebook and at his home. Eric had gone round to check on Monday afternoon, but Elgin's vehicle had gone and he'd left his mobile phone behind. Thankfully, Global Syndicate Wrestling provided an update later in the day stating Mike Elgin has been found and he is doing okay and is being taken home. Elgin was one of the most talented wrestlers on the indie scene, wrestling for everyone but WWE. I once did a 2-hour train journey back in 2012 to watch him wrestle an unknown big Austrian guy in a school sports hall in Sittingbourne. That Austrian guy later evolved into Walter. But Elgin was accused in last June's Speaking Out movement, prompting Impact to suspend and then terminate him from his contract. He has hardly wrestled since. This week will mark a year since those allegations began to come out. Please visit WrestleTalk.com/support each other if you're struggling. There's mental health organizations listed for multiple countries for you to support yourself there. Monday's episode of Raw was shocking, not for any fallouts from the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. It was shocking because it was actually pretty good, with WWE arguably putting on their best episode of Raw all year. Better 6 months in than never. The ratings held pretty much steady from the previous week at 1.72 million viewers, but that's not really indicative of Monday's episode's quality. It's going to take months and months of consistently good to great TV to win back their audience's attention. And one way to do that? Hell in a Cell matches. Hell in a Cell for Raw. Hell in a Cell for SmackDown. Hell in a Cell for everybody. It appears WWE is experiencing some friction from their TV network partners, the USA Network, which airs Raw and NXT, and Fox, which airs SmackDown. Now that the WWE Network has moved to Peacock, which is part of the same company as USA, they've put themselves in a position where Fox is promoting their rival network's on-demand service whenever they're building a pay-per-view. This Balancing Act, title of your next WWE Network exclusive pay-per-view, is thought to be behind the big Roman Reigns vs Rey Mysterio Hell in a Cell match being suddenly moved to Friday's SmackDown instead of the pay-per-view over the weekend. Sean Ross Sapp then reported that because Fox got one, USA wanted a Hell in a Cell match too. This isn't how Hell in a Cell stipulations are meant to work. PW Insider added WWE also wanted to give the TV networks something extra and to try and grab fans' attention with their return to touring next month. How would you make Hell in a Cell matches feel special again? Let me know in the comments down below because I'll be replying to people for the first 30 minutes after this video goes live from out of nowhere. The Raw main event of Bobby Lashley vs Xavier Woods actually had the shortest build to a Hell in a Cell match in history, being announced in the opening segment and then taking place Just 2.5 hours later, there was an injury angle afterwards where Kofi Kingston had to helplessly watch Lashley beat up Woods inside the cage, building their Money in the Bank title match. And according to Brian Alvarez, he's been told this could have been a way to write Woods off TV for a while, as he's got several non-WWE projects coming up, like hosting EA Play Live and the relaunching G4 show. Kevin Owens is also reportedly taking time off. After working an arm injury in his match against Sami Zayn on Sunday, Owens tweeted, "I fought like hell, now I need a little break. I'll be back soon. Thank you, guys." Dave Meltzer then added KO will be having a hiatus from WWE TV, but this is storyline related and not an actual injury. But what about Damian Priest? Priest was being built up as one of Raw's top stars at the start of the year, getting a great showing in the Royal Rumble and then tagging with Bad Bunny against Miz and Morrison at WrestleMania. Unfortunately, when Bad Bunny returned to his home planet, it quickly became apparent WWE were pushing the rapper, not Priest. He continued his repetitive feud with The Miz and Morrison, which included the worst match of the year at Backlash, and it only ended when Miz got injured. But weirdly, Priest hasn't been seen since either. It was initially reported Priest had been working through a back injury, which at one point even threatened to take him out of WrestleMania, and it was thought he was just resting up from that. But Fightful Select is now reporting Priest's absence is due to an undisclosed, non-injury related reason. It doesn't seem like it's any kind of backstage heat, thankfully, as officials apparently wanted him in the qualifying matches for Money in the Bank. He'll reportedly be ready to return next week if there's any plans for him. How would you restart Priest's momentum in WWE? Let me know in the comments. But now it's time for Tempest's review of last night's pretty damn good NXT in about 5 minutes. I hate you, Tempest!
You know, for those people that think I'm bald for some reason, check this out. This is my hair coming out the end of this mask. I have so much hair! It's ridiculous. Can we get out of this quarantine? I need a haircut. What's going on, Intangibles? Tempest the Wrestler is back for another review of this week's NXT in about 5 minutes. Now, this week's episode of NXT started with an in-ring promo from Adam Cole. I've said a lot lately that I'm not a big fan of when wrestling shows open up with a promo, but this was a promo that totally fit the situation, with Adam Cole saying that just because Samoa Joe is here doesn't mean he's gonna play by the rules, and this match is not happening. Cole was supposed to choose his opponent for the night, but instead, Carmelo Hayes came out, issuing a challenge for Adam Cole, saying ruthless aggression and slapping him in the face. I wonder where I've seen that before. The two had a really good back and forth match. Carmelo Hayes managed to get enough offense to make you think that he has superstar potential, but this was definitely still Adam Cole's match. Cole was able to hit the Panama Sunrise and get the win in an excellent opening match, but Carmelo Hayes just has so much potential. I am so excited to see what he does in NXT. After some vignettes and backstage segments, we got an in-ring promo from Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory, with Gargano saying that right now NXT needs him as champion. He said that he can out-wrestle Karrion Kross on his worst day when Pete Dunne interrupted and asked if he was mad, saying that he must be if he thinks that he should be #1 contender before himself. Gargano developed a new character trait on the show last week with the arrival of Samoa Joe. With Gargano now being a law-abiding citizen, you can kind of tell he doesn't want to provoke Samoa Joe and get his ass beat, but he also had to wrestle as a babyface on this show in a match that was later made with himself and Austin Theory taking on Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan. With a whole show full of guys eager to get up in the grill of Samoa Joe, it's really nice to see Johnny Gargano take a different direction with his character, instead trying to be the cowardly heel, trying to avoid Samoa Joe at all costs. The next match saw Io Shirai and her new partner Zoe Stark take on Aaliyah and Jessi Kamea in what was honestly a pretty alright match. I haven't been the biggest fan of Aaliyah or Jessi Kamea for that matter, but they did nothing wrong in this match. Nothing was brilliant by any means, but they were able to have a perfectly functional tag match with Io Shirai getting the win with the moonsault. During the match, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell came down to ringside to scout out both of these teams, and afterwards it looked like they were going to get involved with Io Shirai and Zoe Stark before Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai made their way to ringside. They tried to say that they were next in line for a shot at the NXT Women's Tag titles before being interrupted by Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, who are the most obnoxious baby faces on NXT. Ember and Shotzi came out and tried to say they were next in line, but they did it in the worst way possible, making a lot of noises and really cringy dialogue. I wasn't a fan of this at all. The three teams all got in a brawl, and it was later announced that there will be a triple threat match with all three teams to determine the #1 contenders for the NXT Women's Tag titles, with the eventual title match taking place at the Great American Bash. The next match on the show is the aforementioned bout between The Way and Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan, and man, this was a double heel match, but The Way worked as perfect baby faces here. Earlier in the show, Austin Theory had his fingers broken by Pete Dunne, which led to a really nice moment during this match where Johnny Gargano went to tag him, accidentally tagging the bad hand. It was really nice, it was attention to detail, and I like that. There were a lot of really cool combos in this match, with Dunne and Lorcan hitting a half Nelson powerbomb combo. Ultimately, Johnny Gargano hit a suicide dive into a tornado DDT on Pete Dunne at ringside before getting back up and hitting one final beat on Oney Lorcan for the win. After the match, Karrion Kross hit the running forearm on Johnny Gargano. Perhaps this NXT Championship match between them will happen sooner than we think. It was also announced that MSK will be taking on Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Tag Team titles at the Great American Bash on July 6th. Should be a really good match, but I hope after this we'll finally get the big MSK Grizzled Young Vet showdown that I've wanted so badly. Next up, we had Frankie Monet's encore performance as she took down Elektra Lopez in a very quick match. Elektra Lopez was able to get some offense in, but ultimately Frankie Monet hit the Glam Slam for the win. I'm ready to see where this character goes, although I'm not sold on the idea of her leading Aaliyah and Jessica Mea. I just hope for something a little bit different. They were shown talking backstage and they threw out the name The Winner's Circle, which just kind of, sounds a little bit like, yeah, that. Next up, Hit Row took on Everrise in a squash, and I could watch Hit Row do anything. I love them. They're a perfect faction. Top Dollar and Ashante Adonis were able to hit a really scary-looking powerbomb neckbreaker combo for the win. I wouldn't recommend using this move, honestly. It's really hard to time one guy trying to go up for the neckbreaker, while the other guy throws the opponent down for the powerbomb. There's a lot of moving pieces, and you can really mess this up pretty easily. But hey, they're pros. Maybe they can figure it out. Hit Row, still awesome. Mercedes Martinez was attacked backstage by Xia Li and Boa, with Jake Atlas making the save, uttering some video game level dialogue. Looks like I've joined the fight. It sounded like he was the newest character announced in Super Smash Bros. But then of course we got the excellent main event between Kyle O'Reilly and Kushida. In case you've never seen any of their matches from New Japan, these two wrestle really well together. You could totally suspend your disbelief in this match as they treated it seriously and grappled and exchanged submission holds and strike attempts throughout the match. This felt like an actual sporting exhibition, and I could go over each spot in this match one at a time, but it would not do justice to how good this match was. Ultimately, Kushida went for the hoverboard lock, but Kyle O'Reilly was able to roll him up and get the pin. It was reported earlier in the day by Fightful Select that they are looking to add more focus onto the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, and man, this was an excellent way to start. But that was not the end of the show, as Adam Cole brawled with Kyle O'Reilly to the back when the Diamond Mine made their debut, attacking Kushida and unmasking to reveal their identities as Roderick Strong, Tyler Rest, and Hideki Suzuki. They're being managed by Malcolm Bivens, who announced that the Diamond Mine is now open, and I'm very excited to see what Roddy Strong is going to be able to do with his own faction. I've always thought that he might be one of the guys that gets left behind from Undisputed Era, but it looks like they're going all the way with him. This is a 5 out of 5 show with an excellent main event. And that just about wraps it up for me. Before I go, make sure to go over to WrestleTalk podcast later on today and check out the NXT review with myself and Chopper Pete Quinnell, and you can buy our t-shirt, the Los Intangibles to WrestleTalk shirt, at WrestleShop.com. Also, make sure to watch Quizzlemania later today as I defend my Quizzlemania championship. I'm not letting go of this one. LIW for life.
It was revealed over the weekend that Cross had a dark match tryout at Friday's SmackDown tapings. Why the NXT champion has to do a main roster tryout is beyond me. That's the point of NXT. And it was then also reported he was backstage at Hell in a Cell. Now Dave Meltzer writes he's impressed everyone so much he'll be on this week's main event, beating Shelton Benjamin.